Hey everyone, welcome once again to Show versus Business. This is the real Theo Harvey with Mr. Benja. We're back at it again for another week, but this one's super exciting. We did one talking about the AI algorithms that are slowly taking away our agency. Mr. Benja, do you feel that in your day-to-day life?
I'm sorry, I have no agency. I don't know if I can speak on my own. The algorithm has to prompt me to say something. Man, we're trying to control these computers. We're trying to build these agents, and we're paying agents to control us. It's this weird cycle of something. I don't even know if you'd call this the Inception Matrix, everything all at once, whatever we're in. It's really weird, but people are paying up to $20,000 a month for AI agents, and algorithms are controlling our kids, and our kids don't notice. We don't notice. Stuff is happening, and I don't know. I just thought it was a good conversation that we got into.
Yeah, same here, man. So everyone, like we always talk about, please like, subscribe, comment. We will sometimes give you guys shout outs on our comments, from time to time, like we did on this one as well.
Let's do it.
This is Show versus Business, where pop culture meets pop money. We host the real Theo Harvey and Mr. Benja. So, Mr. Benja, how was your week?
Week was good, man. I had all the information streams coming in. That's why you see my background now. Yeah, it was a good week, man. I calmed down a lot. Because I've been getting amped up on some little stuff. I'm trying to get in my writing mode, and people are trying to amp me up. So I got my new pens, I got my meditation mat, I got my juice. You know what I'm saying? I got everything I need, and just trying to calm down and relax and chill, man, because the stream is wearing on me.
Oh, man, don't do that, brother. My wife called me honorary.
What? Oh no.
And I said, honorary? I said, what's that? So we looked it up. It's bad tempered and combative. I said, yep, that's me. So don't be honorary, Mr. Benja.
Someone pulls out a word and you're like, hold on now. That's not usually in our communication. So let's make sure what we're talking
She
about is what
was accurate. I can get a little combative when I feel overwhelmed. So I understand where you're coming from sometimes, Mr. Benja. But no, man, my week was good, man. I mean, I've been watching Daredevil Born Again. We
mm,
talked about this on this pod. We went over the trailer review. Uh, I'm liking it, Mr. Benja. I'm liking it.
okay. You
Yeah.
know, I'm people there's a lot of buzz going around, a lot of talk. I went back to the hero group and they were all excited, like, hey man, you gotta get on that. I'm like, oh really? I gotta get back on it like that? Like, yeah. So okay.
I can't believe that show came out like 10 years ago, the first time on Netflix. And literally, they have the same cast from that
Yeah.
show just show up. So I'm not going to get into spoilers here. Maybe when you watch it, Mr. Benja, we'll maybe do a deep dive or high level, what we do, what we call a deep
Yeah.
dive at least into, spoiler territory. But I just never forget, man. Vincent D'Onofrio, that's the name of the actor who plays the Kingpin.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's a wonderful acting job he is doing with that character, man. I mean, yes, in Echo he was probably portrayed like a buster. In Hawkeye, he was portrayed as a buster.
Yeah.
But when you go back to the original series, it was amazing what he was doing, man. I
Yeah.
just never forget that line. I had to go watch it again the other day. Do you remember at the end, this whole time he thought he was a good force for the city, so I'm trying to improve it. And then Daredevil got him in jail. He was on his way to jail and he was telling the story about the Good Samaritan. And he was
Hmm.
just like, the Good Samaritan came by and he said, you know what? I always thought I was a Good Samaritan in that story. He said, no, I am the ill intent. And I was the one that fell upon the stranger who was on a road that he should not have been on. I was like, yes. Whenever you see a villain realize he's the villain, that's the best for me, man. It's
Embrace that.
he embraced that, son. He was just, I was the ill intent.
You know, I might need to jump back on Disney Plus for a bit. So that's thank you, because I'm just finishing up. I had to rewatch Arcane season two. Um, I don't know if you're on Arcane at all or not, but from the League of Legends video game, it has a surprising amount of lore for a video game. I know all video games have lore, but this has like a lot, like too much. And I started to go into my minor deep dive, and it's like 50,000 years ago in a dimension of. I'm like, what? Why is you're just basically clicking on some fools
Wait,
and
wait, wait, Mr. Benja, could this be a 10-hour YouTube video?
oh my God, I'm pretty sure there might already be, but the Arcane lore is deep. But anyway, to the show. They ran the first season. Phenomenal, phenomenal imagery, visuals, graphics. It's an interesting painterly style. It didn't go all the way into like Spider Verse kind of look, but it was
Mhm.
very painterly and interesting with a lot of real life camera effects thrown into it that make you feel more connected to these characters. Very emotional, action packed, you know, dynamic, colorful, with a really good story. And I was like, wow, okay, this is pretty much universally received as awesome in so many different fronts. Season 2 came on. I was like, boom, I'm back on it. Let's go. Man, I've never felt so. Yeah, I was betrayed, man. I didn't know what to think about it. I was just like, what is this? I didn't get it. And I fell asleep on it. I fast forwarded through parts. I was like jumping around, like, oh God, why is this happening? And they took some chances that I was just really upset with. So I was about to write it off like I wrote off The Last Jedi the first time I saw that. Um, I,
Shots fired.
I was mad at Arcane season 2. I was like, that was the worst. And then, but it hung with me a little bit. I like laid in my bed and stared at the ceiling. I was like, why is that so bad? Then I tried to watch it again. I'm like, no, it's still bad. Saw some reviewer, um, not a reviewer, a reactor, reacting to Arcane season 2, and they were crying and like, "Oh my gosh, this is great." And I'm like, "Okay, am I just stupid? What's going on here?" I got in my zen, took out my yoga mat again, calmed down, and tried to watch it from a different perspective. And I actually got into it.
Wow.
I had to completely change the way I thought about everything to actually accept this show. It's like it's not like you ask for beef and they give you chicken. It's not like you ask for sushi and they give you a fish fry. It was beyond different. It's like, hey, I'm going to ask for cake and they're going to put me in you know on a zip line down a hill. It's like this has nothing to do with cake. You're going down the zip line, son. I'm like, why am I here? I don't want to be on a zip line. I just wanted cake. And, it's so I was on this zip line getting mad at life, and then I had to watch it again. I don't even know if I can call it good, but it's just strange, and you really have to stop and accept what it's trying to give you. The story went all over the place. The characters are all over the place, but it's not even worried about that. It's trying to do something else, and I can't. You just have to be open and accept it. Maybe.
Okay. I mean, kudos to you for uh giving a show what, three chances to get your attention. Wow. Dude.
This is a thing that I've seen like art critics do when they look at something and they're like, okay, I don't like it from this point of view. Let me see if I can understand the audience a little better. They go back and then they look at it again. Say, okay, well, if you're coming from the graffiti side of things, this makes a little more sense. Okay, if you're coming from the political side of things, it makes sense this way. And you have to keep looking at it from different angles. I was turning Arcane over in my head so many times because I'm like, in the middle of a storyline, they just dropped all references to any of those plot threads and started into a music video in the middle of an episode. And I'm like, what the? I was just so angry that they had disrupted what I thought a show should be. But uh, they pulled some moves that people are going to be talking about, at least in their community and whoever saw it. But
So, but the season one, I mean, was phenomenal, right? So I should definitely check that out.
I will tell most people just watch season 1 and be happy with your life at that point.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Fair, fair.
I will not push season 2 on anybody unless you're some weirdo critic who just wants to see interesting things. But I,
Mhm.
I still think it broke every rule. Like, oh, you like a character and you expect us to continue their story? We're not gonna do that intentionally.
Mm.
Hey, what happened to that guy? Huh? We don't know who you're talking about. But he's in the background. What are you talking about? So
Nah, man. Yeah, it's got I guess the two main actresses that play. I guess they're sisters in this show. Ella Purnell, from Fallout, the girl that plays in Fallout, the TV show, and then Haley Steinfeld, who plays Spider Gwen. So in the Beyond the Spider Verse movie. So yeah, I heard a lot about it. I just haven't got into it, so I'll check it out. You know me, Mr. Benja, I'm watching more of the. I don't really get into the anime too much, or to the cartoons, but I am loving Invincible again. Back into Invincible World, so maybe we'll talk about that too if you get back on that. But I mean, I forgot how hard it goes, man. I read the comics, and then when I look at it, I guess, oh yeah, this show goes hard, man. Yeah. I mean, anything that the worst that can happen is going to happen on that show, man. They don't give any f's, man. It's like, dude, uh, things things that shouldn't happen on screen, they will happen on screen. So it's yeah, I forgot how hard, and it's going to get worse. I saw some other previews. I said, oh yeah, I did remember that does happen. So yeah, man, it's one of those cartoons that just go hard, and maybe that's, I mean, we kind of dance around this a little bit, but I think that's what's happening with Marvel, because you got shows like The Boys, you have Invincible. I mean, it's like those are like real gritty, kind of realistic. Like I think we all know, especially in the world we live in now, we realize that if there really were superheroes, this is how they would act. Like these shows, like Invincible, not like the Avengers, unfortunately, right? Not like Black and Captain American Falcon, and that's maybe there's a disconnect now between when Iron Man first premiered in '08 and now in 2025, where our thoughts of heroes have been warped, and we just don't believe that anymore on the screen. This faithful.
and there's also the fact that the people buying into these hero movies and shows are more adult just because it's still us. I mean, we're still watching it and talking about it. It's not like you used to sit around and somebody would always pipe up, "You can't say that because it's for kids." And it's like, is it really? Have you seen the numbers? Who's going to this stuff? Who's it being catered to? And that's even true for toys and collectibles. It's like, you talk about Funko Pops or any popular toys nowadays, and it's like the adult buyer for themselves, way outpaces the children buyers, and that's a flip flop from a couple decades back.
Speaking of which, I got some Funko Pops back there. The kids every time they want to touch it,
Nice.
don't touch my toys.
How dare you kids? How dare you kids touch something small and plastic and colorful?
Don't touch my toys, man. leave my toys alone. That's the original, authentic Darth Vader from Empire Strikes Back.
First
Yes.
edition mint run.
uh, Comic book guy from Simpsons guy. So look it up.
Yes.
But yeah. So anyway, man, I think it's gonna be interesting
Let's
to
go.
see how this stuff pans out with these uh, shows and cartoons shows. But man, Mr. Benja, I know we had this kind of becoming a regular feature, but maybe we'll talk about more. We just give shout outs to some folks that give us some comments, and we like to comment on the commentators. Maybe that's what we call it, the comment on the commentators section. But
Comment on commentators.
the comment
With the G.
corner. How about that? The comment
The
corner.
comment corner. Yes.
This is what we do, right, guys? We're going to comment on what you guys talk about, because we'll never respond to you probably on YouTube, because we like to
I
talk,
might ask.
guys. We
I
like
might ask for the
nuance.
smoke, but whatever.
Yeah, but we
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
nuance. We like nuance, man. I mean, let's bring it. So,
So
you put these up here. What do you want to talk about?
yeah, so we had wondered in the last episode if Kathleen Kennedy intentionally stirred the pot in the Star Wars fan base with her rollout of the sequel movies, 7, 8, and 9. And, a lot of people said that, well, not a lot of people, but the word on the internet was that she did. And Gregory Thompson 5334 said she ruined it with intention. Watch South Park. They pretty much nailed it. And I actually haven't seen that South Park episode, so now I wanna check that one out.
I have. I just can't remember all the things that went into it, but it's pretty brutal about
Mm,
which about her to take on that. But it's par for the course. I do remember that being as a takedown of her and what she wanted to bring to Star Wars. This
yeah,
woke, for lack of a better word, basically, just more inclusion into Star Wars corner of the world. And you know what? I mean, look, I think she wasn't wrong because before Iger left, that was his intention. A lot of things, right?
hmm,
He was so adamant. If you read his book, Ride of a Lifetime, he talks about that. He's like, "Oh, I'm so proud of the biggest thing I ever done was being able to get $1 billion franchise for Black Panther, right?" And so to him, inclusion was an important factor. Now that he's come back to the Disney fold, all that's out the water. DEI, all that's a bad
yeah,
word now. So he's not going. He's a corporate entity at the end of the day. But there was a time where especially after George Floyd, we talked about this, where everybody was in the bag for diversity, inclusion, right, and all that. And
yeah,
so Kennedy doing that, I think she was kind of ahead of the curve. But then to your point, I think the storytelling, uh, it was too much intention or a agenda behind the storytelling, and so the storytelling got kind of left behind. And that's you can be inclusive. I mean, there's some great stories that are very
yeah,
inclusive, but you don't have to have an agenda behind it, right? To make and let that subjugate the storytelling. And I think that's what your point is always, right? So I do feel like she did let that get to the head, and the acolyte, maybe in case in point a little bit of that, right, where there was a lot of interesting things put in there that
yeah,
didn't work. So
yeah. I mean, exactly. So yeah, we talked about that on a couple occasions. So you can listen to that podcast for that. And also, another Star Wars comment. We like the Star Wars commenters. They seem to be coming through with the good and thoughtful discussion. And from another short we had, we were talking about the different Star Wars types of movies or trilogies or sagas that they could make in the future that weren't based around Jedi. And we just threw some ideas, hey, smugglers, we got the bounty hunters, we got the banking clans and the financial stuff. What about the whole politics side of things? That's a whole thing. And we brought that discussion up with Andor. And you had said that Andor was, really good quality television and it's in the Star Wars universe. And Tara Rose 5650 says, I am all about Andor as the future of Star Wars. You are so right. I'd like some fighter pilots too. Please and thanks. Very true. We didn't talk about the whole fighter pilot kind of thing.
yeah, and you remember there was supposed to be rumored a X-wing show, remember, or a movie that was going to be
Yeah, what was it
premiered.
called? Rebel. See,
I
I now forgot.
forgot.
Oh my.
Yeah, but yeah, I would love to see something like that, like kind of a fighter pilot, Top Gun type of you're the best of the best,
Yeah,
we're gonna see who wipes out, right? Oh, that's Maverick. Oh no, he's going down. Stay on target, stay on
yeah,
target guy. I want to see his origin story.
exactly.
Stay on target, stay on target.
Get out of here, Wedge. You're no help.
Well, yeah, the Wedge would be I think it was gonna be
What?
Wedge
Yeah.
Antilles. Is it
Mm.
Antilles? Dang,
Yeah,
do I
yeah, that
remember
was
that?
it.
Dang, I'm good. Deepest corner of the mind. But yeah, man. Man. She makes a good point too. I want to just say this. She says also, well, I think that was the next point. We'll talk about that in a second. But I agree, man. There's so many different corners of Star Wars. We named, the crime syndicate piece. We talked about the political intrigue.
Yeah,
Uh, what's the other one? So the fighter pilots. Um, there's so many different angles they could take with Star Wars, right? It's just like
yeah,
why we keep going back to Jedi and Sith all the time.
yeah.
And this next commenter, or did you want to say something? I was gonna.
No, go to the next commenter.
Yeah, the next commenter, Wonder, what's it, Flonium, Wonder Flonium. He
Wonder
says
Flaunium, I guess.
Flaunium. Thank you, Wonder
I
Flaunium.
guess.
Put that own in there.
Oh,
Own. Wonder Flaunium. Sorry, we're getting your name wrong if we get it wrong. The Jedi versus Sith conflict has always been the weakest core element of Star Wars IMO, in my opinion. Literally zero chance or room for nuance you can give the Jedi. I don't know what that means, but he basically was saying, I agree. I think because it's such black and white, which I think Dave Filoni's trying to create like a gray area a little bit with the Jedi.
Yeah,
Like you don't have to be all this or all that, but then you got to think from George. This is always originally a movie, right? That's
yeah,
how George Lucas envisioned it, and so he had to keep it simple. So there's a bad side, there's a devil, and God, and that's
yeah,
it. There's
yeah,
nothing
yeah,
else. And so you keep it simple. Then now you can put nuance in the characters around those two big poles. So I
yeah.
understand why it's always been about Jedi and Sith, but we are in such an interesting world where there's so much nuance, so many stories that I think we can kind of get away from the Jedi and Sith and create more nuance in our storytelling to the commenter's point. But that's just my thoughts on it. Any other thoughts on in Comic Corner or what folks are saying about Star Wars in general?
Nah, man. The love is still alive though. That's what I'm happy to see. So I got to get back in. I still haven't watched Skeleton Crew and some other stuff. I haven't watched Acolyte either.
Oh
But
wow!
after watching Arcane season 2, I'm ready for anything now.
You gave it three times, three chances, not once,
Yep,
not
yep.
twice, but three times.
I am open, and all sides of my spirit are ready to receive whatever media, good or bad, that you would like to send my way.
With the long dreads and the halo, man. You just looking saintly now, man. Oh my goodness. All you gotta put a little halo up there next time we do this.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. So anyway, what's next?
So there's a lot we got to get into, and we got to do our trailer. So I don't know if there's anything random you want to pick out of here.
Jeez, man. I don't know, man. There's so many craziness going on in the world right now. I mean, do we want to talk a little bit about Elon Musk real quick?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about AI later. So yeah, we can get into Elon.
Yeah, I mean, just the foolishness he's getting into and all that. I mean, you like Gronk, his AI that he's been put out there. The rumor is, according to these benchmarks, which let's be real, these benchmarks are the AIs probably have the the answers to the test, right? To kind of make the most of these benchmarks, but supposed to have the highest scores on the benchmarks, and everyone's kind of is not as tightly filtered. Basically, it's a little bit more freer expression and all
Hmm.
that. There was some terms that went around that said that his AI chatbot estimates 75 to 85% likelihood Trump is a Putin compromised asset. So we're talking about Russian leader Putin. So basically, look, sure, these AI bots are going to do what they do.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, will you be surprised if Trump is that way? I don't think I would, but if he is, there's nothing we can do about it at this point. So
yeah.
it's like, thanks for telling us, chatbot.
What's funny is like Grok just all right. So you know how you go to a convention and you talk to a company and they kind of sound the representatives kind of sound like the company they're referencing, right? They're
Mhm.
representing. So you go to Electronic Arts. Hi, we're Electronic Arts. We're a publisher of many video games, the Madden series, Battlefield, blah blah blah. We're great and awesome. Like, all right, cool, man. You go over to the Capcom booth. Hi, we're Capcom of America. We're here to promote our new Street Fighter game. Blah blah blah, and we make good games. Like, hey, thank you very much. But you go to something like the Rockstar booth. They're not even like talking to you. They're like, "Hey man, want a little refreshment?" They take out a soda from the just. It's like, wait, what is this? And they're just talking real. That's kind of what Grok is like to me. I ask Grok questions, and it's like, yeah, look, you don't have to worry about X, Y, and Z. Let's just assume, because I had asked it for links on this one thing, and it said, listen, you don't have to go through all these links and everything. We can just assume that this and this is the case. If you want to look that up or you have links to send me, do that. And I was like, wait, what? It didn't want to cite a source. So it was just like, listen, we know this is how physics works, right? So we don't need to go find some paper. And I was kind of like,
We all agree.
I was kind of like,
Physics is physics.
yeah, you're right. I was asking it about pins again. I was asking it like, well, hey, if you store a pin like this, is it going to be more in this and this? Are there any papers going to? It was like, listen, here's how physics works, and here's how a pin's going to work. So anyway, Grok is just. It talks more like this might be. a bad reflection of me, but it kind of talks the way I want to hear an AI talk. I'm like, I like this guy. I don't even
Yeah,
like your name.
pages.
I don't like the site you come from, you know. But as I'm going through the AI, it's like, listen, here's how we're going to break it down. We're going to give you this. Now, I assume you meant this, so I'm going to give you some bullet points. Now, in case you're wondering how I came up with this, here's blah blah blah. And I'm like, this is how I would expect, like, dare I say, a normal human to answer a question, as opposed to being GPT. It's like, hi, searching. This is my answer, and it's perfectly okay. Here's some
Oh,
links and sources. I'm like, yeah, get out of here with that.
does it ask you an annoying thing at the end, like Claude or OpenAI now, where they're saying, "Hey, so is do you want us to do this next?" Like super helpful. That gets annoying to me a
Yeah,
little
they're
bit.
little phishing schemes where it's
Yeah,
like they're
yeah.
trying to fish information out of you and like,
Yeah,
let me get some more data on my users by asking an innocuous question.
is
Right.
Gronk doing that too for you, from you?
It does that, but I kind of don't mind because, as I said, the way it talks is kind of cool. It's a guy I can kind of talk to and chat with,
Okay.
and it'll let you know, man. It's like, hey, listen, you can find this with the regular search, man. You don't need to waste my time on all this complex.
Has it said that to you?
It's it never says anything direct like that. I'm just kind of paraphrasing, but yeah, it will let you know. It's like, hey, listen, if you want safer search results, there are other AI bots out there, but I'm just going to give you what I'm seeing here and what the people are saying over here. I'm just going to give it to you as I see it. I'm real.
So wait a minute, Gronk is giving you that raw, uncut. Are we? Is that what we're saying?
Yo, man, Grok's real. I'm just saying.
Uncut. That 3 a.m.
No,
uncut.
no, but for it actually formats and breaks things down extremely nicely. It's just a very cool dude.
What? Okay. I'm about to try it out, man. I've been, I went ahead and put some extra money in just to see how this $200 reasoning model works for
Uh huh.
OpenAI. Deep research. Yeah, it's okay. That's okay. And then Sora. I think we're playing around with that. That's okay. So it's just like, I mean, look, we're talking about AI. Let's just get into it, man. I mean,
Oh, real quick, make sure you try out Grok with scientific stuff.
okay.
It's You could tell this was made by coders and engineers. It will not give you the socially acceptable result. It's like, let's think about this as a binary tree. Half the audience is going to be like, "What? I just asked for it to give me a." It starts talking science and numbers and math real fast.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, but it's still a
Interesting.
cool
Okay.
dude.
It's still cool, dude. Just a little. Like you said, that's the guy on the corner trying to give you the real deal. Like, look, I know you're in school books of physics. Come out here to the corner, I give you real physics. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
differential
basically something.
equations, man! I do that in my head. RDRR and all that.
Let's go. um, yeah, so let's talk about it. So I think with AI, artificial intelligence, you saw that the latest model came out from um, OpenAI 4.5, right? And it's supposed to be the most expensive model ever, and does all this stuff. But people have been underwhelmed by it, man. They're saying the benchmarks, yeah, it's kind of hitting the benchmarks, but it's nothing surprising.
ChatGPT, we're talking about.
Yeah, ChatGPT, OpenAI's
Yeah.
ChatGPT latest version 4.5 just got released, like I think it was last week. And it was so underwhelming. You're like, this is a major model release. It's not like, a little mini version or a reasoning model. That basic reasoning model is basically just a version of ChatGPT LLM, large language model, that's just giving you little pieces of explanations, right? Say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I assume you mean. That kind of stuff. Or agents, right? Which is something that, is pretty started to become table stakes for a lot of these AI companies. But this new model is supposed to be the best model ever, right? It's most expensive and all that. And it was so underwhelming. And people are saying, this hype train that Sam Altman and OpenAI has put us on, saying that we're going to get artificial general intelligence, or AGI, by the next 2-3 years, right?
Yeah.
And people are like, cap. Because if this is the best you can do at this point, and is not magnitudes, it's not an order of magnitude. When the order of magnitude like 10x, right, what it was before, then it's like, how are you ever going to get to that point?
Yeah.
And is that a leap that's just too far for us to get to because we don't even understand what that looks like? And so I think, and then we're already seeing that once a newer model is out there, everyone else is just going to steal it and create their own models just as smart pretty quickly, right? And so
Yeah. Yeah.
with what was it, DeepSeek R1, right? They got high benchmark ratings because they were able to use, I forgot the name of the what they do to kind of get the latest information. But basically, they look at the inputs and outputs and kind of follow what the superior model gives it, and it just mimics that to learn how to be like the master. So we'll find cheaper models. They already said there's some other models out there that's already as smart as the 4.5 that OpenAI had just put out there. So I think the hype train of AGI being in our you know coming next week, right? Is just not going to happen. And so now we're seeing things get into, well, hey, how about these agents? You want AI
Yeah.
to, what would be cool? Was that scene from what's that the Facebook movie?
So
It'd
yeah,
be
social
cool.
network.
Yeah, Social Network. It'd be cool. 1 billion people. Something like that. It's just, it'd be cool having AI get your airplane ticket for you. Ooh, wouldn't that be cool? So we're seeing these new models come out with these agent models, trying to keep the hype train going, right? And why you want to buy it. And I'm not impressed, Mr. Benja. I mean, I've been kind of
Mm,
experimenting with them. I think in some cases we talked about that I'm using it in some ways to kind of summarize data a little bit faster, or kind of, you know, going, you know, going through it where I can kind of use it from a brainstorming standpoint. But
yeah.
these agents, man, I don't know if I trust them enough, right? You really have to kind of watch them to make sure that they do exactly what you want, and kind of, it takes a while to fine tune it to get it where you want to.
So let me ask this: somebody is thinking, hey, listen, I'm subscribed to whatever service, $20 a month, $40 a month, you know, $200 a month, even. This is my AI service. Where do you get the big change in value when someone says, I have AI agents and they're starting at $20,000 a month? Is it a month? I'm sorry, a year or a month?
A month.
A month. I just had to make sure because I'm charging $20,000 a month. You should really come over here. What is the value proposition there? What are people getting for that?
Ah, man, that's a good question, man. I mean, so what we're talking about, OpenAI has just put it out there that they're thinking about different levels of AI agents, right? Different price tiers. I think we said one. They said it's going to be $2,000 a month, where it's kind of like a higher level knowledge worker. So basic tasks like maybe some Excel documentation. So basically, go into an Excel sheet and maybe create some graphs and charts for you
Yeah,
automatically. Um, or next level is like a high level like engineer, so 10,000 a month, where they're actually coding for you and kind of putting together a massive amount of code and delivering that. And then the highest level is $20,000, would be a PhD level PhD researcher that's putting together stuff. Mr. Benja, you're right. I don't because I think the challenge with these AI agents is you still need human beings to kind of manage that process. And so, what, you're going to pay the AI $20,000 to do a PhD level, but then you need someone who at least understands PhD level to manage that process to make sure it's accurate.
yeah. And I guess I'm hearing that you've got well, there are two sides to it. Obviously, if you hire somebody for $10,000 a month, like they're saying that's how much it'll be worth to you. It's like, hey, if I can just hire a programmer, I still have to direct that programmer. We still have to have meetings. We still have to do all this. Um, so if I ask it, hey, listen, I'm trying to make this game. It needs to have 16 levels and da da da. Can you give me so I could see it like if it was a person. and this agent was a person or whatever, you'd have a constant back and forth. It's remembering all of your conversations. If you said, "Hey, what did we talk about last week?" and it could recount all that information. I'm just trying to think, if I equate agent to actual person, then it starts to make a little sense. It's like if I had a uh, a basketball agent and I sent it my videos or whatever, like, "Hey, listen, here's my shot and here's my form and everything. Talk to me, agent, coach agent." And he's like, "Hey, listen, your arm is drooping a little bit. You need to have confidence and follow through with your elbow, get that thing up and keep it up." And it's like, okay,
Mhm.
I don't know, but that's what I'm starting to imagine when you start getting into those types of numbers where you have an actual job that's being done by this agent.
But I mean, what's a job though, right? I mean, jobs always evolve based on the human being that does it. And
Hmm.
so if you have an agent that's doing, what it's been programmed to do, can they evolve from that? Sure. If you have another human being that's thinking about how to evolve that job, right? And so if it's doing that job, you're telling it, okay, you do this so well that there's another component of this. Where if there was a human being, that interchange may happen a little bit faster because they're actually doing the job. You say, you know what, this is a better way to do it, or this is something else that evolved out of its original task, right? Not all the cases. Some human beings are not that great at us doing better at their job, if for lack of a better word. But I always believe that human beings have the capacity to kind of see other patterns and things faster than maybe the AI could, right? Because the AI is only kind of the parameters around what it's delivering. There may be some other insights that come out of that, right, as they're kind of
Yeah.
delivering it. And so and to your point, maybe they do find them and they just put them to the side, and then you review that later with the AI and say, you know what, go down that path instead. I don't know if they can do to that level from an AI agent,
Hmm.
kind of like a recording of the job task. And they say, hey, this is something I did that I've thought about, but I'm not going to do that because it takes me off a beaten path. But, if you want to look at that, explore it. So I still think there will have to be a human interplay there. Someone made a good point. I was listening to a podcast. They said, it's the challenge is going to be the human element because you need, just like with human beings, you need a manager or someone that kind of, manages that project, that process. And
Yeah.
so you're going to have human beings and you're going to have agents. You have a manager that's got to manage both. So they need to understand how that infrastructure is going to be built if you're trying to do it at an enterprise level. And that's going to be difficult. That's going to be interesting to see. I don't think we have the tools yet to understand that because we haven't deployed enough agents at a high enough level, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, and then on the other hand, I also wonder, and this I guess a little bit of behind the scenes baseball or whatever, but I wonder how many people behind the scenes in the under the hood of how this all works. Like if you have you know a health agent or a coach agent or whatever, is there an actual health professional or coach professional sitting behind some desks at the OpenAI offices, who's kind of going over stuff like, "Holy crap, I don't believe he said that. Let me fix this up," or let me direct the AI a little bit this way, so you have a human on the other side. I wonder if part of it, what you're paying for, is that kind of facilitation, on the
Hmm.
back end, real people back there too.
Good point. I mean, I'm looking at this article, right? It says in November, we explained how researchers at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory have been using OpenAI's O1 model to solve questions related to nuclear fusion. Presumably, that reflects a PhD level of intelligence or something close to it. And so, having those levels of intelligence is important in certain job, and they're finding use of it. I don't know, what level they're finding usefulness. Is not
Mhm.
doing his own research and coming back and creating a paper, right, on the research. I'm sure, but maybe taking some of the math off the task of the researchers, right, to kind of come up with something more insightful. But they said the other thing too, if you look at it as the development piece of it, they're still trying to figure out how they can work out the pricing, right, in the industry. Some companies are stuffing AI features into app bundles like Workspace and Office 365 and just increasing the price. So,
Yeah.
it was a Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, stuff like that. Or others are charging for AI features only when they solve a task. I thought that's
Yeah.
kind of interesting. That could be another model.
Yeah.
And then finally it says Devin, the coding tool created by startup Cognition, costs around 500 a month for a coding agent, similar to what OpenAI hopes to launch. So you charge 500 a month, and it just does some coding assignments for you, and go from there. So I don't know, man. It's just I, it's
So
moving so fast. It's hard to kind of figure out. I don't think we have the capacity yet to understand how to use these tools right efficiently.
yeah.
As soon as we kind of think we understand, there's a new way of using them, a new that, and I think
Yeah.
that's the challenge. We're going to need AI to help us understand how to use AI.
Yeah. Exactly. That's very interesting too. One thing I do know that I'm reading through this Ars Technica article, and one line that it says is and you were reflecting this too. The approach ostensibly mirrors how human researchers spend time thinking about complex problems rather than providing immediate answers. According to OpenAI, the more time you put into this interface time compute, the better answers you get. For $20,000, a customer would presumably be buying tons of thinking time for the AI model to work on difficult problems. Let me extrapolate what that meant into creative, humanistic speak. Humans are unique in a couple of different ways. And one of the ways that we're unique in terms of us versus AI and robots and computers is we can contextualize and like see things from different perspectives. So if you're inside a kitchen, it's like make something happen. Cool. And you start going through your drawers and finding out what kind of utensils you have, how many plates do you have. It's like, okay, I can do a dinner for four. We got some steak in the freezer. And you start from the information thinking about what you can do. Computers will have a much harder time of that. They're like, am I supposed to be fast? Am I supposed to be, it just doesn't have as much, it just doesn't get as much from context. And combine that with storytelling and imagination. You know, a human can actually run a quick simulation in their heads, like, if I go outside and punch somebody in the mouth, that might not be a good idea. You know, I'm imagining computers at this $20,000 level are being tasked with, running these little simulations and figuring out like how a human figures things out, if that makes any sense. So it's starting to tell its own stories. It's starting to build up these contexts. It's starting to run simulations. It's starting to imagine things that it wasn't necessarily asked to imagine in order to provide an answer or a response that makes sense to humans and would be desired. A lot of times they're not really doing that. They're just kind of grabbing stuff from what already exists without doing that, what the Ars Technical article calls think time or inter inference time compute. Sorry, my college blabber jumped out there for a second. I don't know if that made sense.
I kind of get a sense of what you're kind of hinting at here. I mean, it's like I said, man, it's moving pretty fast here, and so I'm just curious to see where this going to take us. I mean, and I always think about the human element when it comes to these things, right? It's just like because as an entrepreneur, I'm fascinated by them because I'm like, could I replace team members, to do this, and
Yeah,
could I move faster in getting products out? But then also there's the human element that I deal with every day where it's just like a lot of communication, a lot of optimizing human beings to get the most out of it. And then you realize, AI is very similar in that regard. And even more so because we don't even understand, at least somewhat you can kind of understand what motivates a
yeah,
human being. AI was motivating it or because we don't program, we don't, especially these closed systems, right? Like uh, OpenAI, which is a closed system, proprietary system, we don't know what they're putting into the algorithm to make it do what it does, right? And so I think that's always the risk take. And there's so many AI companies, man. I just saw one the other day that's just like, hey, you got data, you want to build AI product around your data? Give us a call. I was like, what?
yeah,
Sure. Let's see what y'all can do. I mean, it's just like, I mean, hey, just put AI on your shingle, man, and you got it going on, I guess, man, because that's where the money's at. I guess, man, but it's just like as someone who's in this, it's like, man, this is was it there? I mean, I see some usefulness for it. I see some, summarization, sure, spell check, sure, some fast way to kind of do some searches, sure.
Yeah,
Some
that's it.
brainstorming time, sure, but it's just like, what's the killer app where it's like, I look, I push that button and I wanted to, write a book or like you said, just do this task without a lot of talking back. And I don't think we're there yet.
No, no, that's the thing I think that's interesting is that it's not the just spit something out. You know, if you ask for, hey, let me get a book about this and that, and give me the outline of the first chapter, and you're like, okay, can we change this to, instead of two brothers, two neighbors, from different families, and it's like, okay, and it changes the book on the fly. You start. I think the interesting part is actually talking to it, just having somebody really competent, probably maybe more competent than you, that gives you a good back and forth as opposed to a what do you mean by, it's like, hey, listen, I got 18 examples, let's discuss what we can do with these.
Because you think the better idea comes out of that discussion, that conflict to kind of, level up the idea in essence, right? Okay. I think there's some validity in that. I mean, if you trust what the AI is telling you, that's the challenge,
Right,
right?
right.
I mean, it's always a challenge with human beings, but at least you're paying a human being, so the alignment, they're aligned to making sure you're successful. The AI may
Yeah.
not be aligned. They talked about this. I forgot what it's called, but alignment is a big term in AI where the goals of the AI is aligned to the human race, right? Because if it's not, then
Hmm.
what they'll do is something that would for the goals of the programming kill off the human race, right? That's what the fear is for AI. But it's definitely not aligned to your goals as a company, right? Or your goals as an entrepreneur if you're trying to build it. And that's a challenge. So it's like, yes, it's good to have brainstorming ideas and stuff, but just to make you feel better and keep paying, they may hallucinate and give you some false information, right? That's not accurately sourced. So it's like, so anyway,
Yeah.
which could be detrimental to your business. I used the AI and it told me I could sell drugs in the street for like $5. You guys telling me that's not true? No, sir. You're going to jail.
Well, hopefully for $20,000, that a little bit of that might be, pulled back.
Well, anyway, Mr. Bridget, I mean, can we move on? This kind of segues into the algorithm conversation that, what
Yeah, let's bang out the algorithm talk right quick.
Well, because AI, right, is kind of replacing search engines, right? Because people are kind of going there first to kind of get
Hmm.
something. And because it's so quick and fast and give you some simple samples, you think, oh, wow, this is accurate.
Yeah.
And this is very similar. So we're letting an algorithm or basically AI engine that's been created by a private company kind of dictate what is the correct answer to us without any other due diligence, right? Very few people even look at the sources sometimes. They just say, oh, ChatGPT said this, put this on the homework and turn it in. And so that's the next level of this, which is the stream level. We've already had this for a while, Mr. Benja, with the IG stories, the infinite scroll.
Yeah.
Very few people are leaving that environment to actually go on Google anymore to search things and to kind of really think through, is this a valid thing I need to look at, to kind of,
Hmm.
in essence, curate their own kind of search experience. They just rather be on IG or some other source and just kind of look at what the algorithm is feeding them, right? Based on what you
Yeah.
watched before. And that could be a problem.
No, no, yeah, no, it totally is a problem, and it's getting worse. So my question is, how bad of a problem is it before we catch ourselves, and do we ever catch ourselves? Because if you've got an algorithm that says, "I like to hunt," I'm right wing, and it's got all these other little factors that it's defined me as. So okay, boom, I'm the algorithm. I know this person likes to hunt. I know he likes MAGA, or whatever, and he's right wing. Okay, so I'm going to show him all the stuff that agrees with that. And suddenly, if we're in an argument or something, or we're trying to debate something, the algorithm could start feeding me, I don't want to say misinformation, but bad information that doesn't necessarily promote my cause. It just
Mm.
makes me feel better and I'm happier about the results I'm getting because, oh look, this survey said that blah 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 blah. I know I'm right, and it's like, where did that survey come from doesn't matter. Was the survey ever debunked? Doesn't matter. Was there a follow up survey? There were 7 follow up surveys, but we're only going to respond to the one that makes the most sense for you and is the most salacious. So yeah, that I'm worried about. That because that's a problem I'm already seeing where people were like, this video said. I'm like, dude, that video's you've seen this where somebody says something and they respond with a video link to YouTube, and it's like, um, that was a political event 17 years ago. That's not talking about this current election. You know what I mean?
Well, I have it with my daughter all the time. She's telling us,
Yeah,
like, she's 13 years old, right, on the internet a little bit, which that's a whole nother conversation. Just saying things as inaccurate all the time and with such confidence because
yeah,
what she saw on the internet or what she saw on YouTube or Instagram, validates her worldview. Well, this is how no, this is it. Like, wait a minute, hold up. Who are you? You 13 years old. What do you know? And what's
yeah,
the
yeah,
source for that? So I'm always, challenging the kids to kind of push back and create those critical thinking skills. And I think you're right. I think it's going away, man. I think people are not thinking through. I mean, even we get caught up in that. Sometimes I'll forward something, not really doing the research, and then come to find out, it's, I shouldn't have forwarded that. That was not accurate, and it's hard to kind of do that because you just, not human beings. And let's be honest, we're lazy by nature, and so it's like, what's the fastest, more efficient way to get this information out so I
yeah,
can feel good about myself and what I share with my friends. And but the thing is, I saw this YouTube video. It came out about how algorithms are breaking how we think,
yeah.
and it was by what's it called? I'm trying to think of the YouTuber that put this out here. I can't remember his name right here right now. Let me pull it up real quick. I want to give him credit so we can get it right. Oops. Technology Connections. He's got 2.73 million subscribers. I found him through another person, and so the algorithm gave me the algorithm gave me his content. I had to go search
Mm,
for it, so that was another thing I thought was interesting. The algorithm didn't pull this up after I watched this other creator. The other creator
yeah,
mentioned this guy, but so he made a good point though. He said, just anecdotally, if you go look at YouTube, YouTube has a for you page just like all the other social media, so that's the
yeah,
algorithm pumping stuff to you. But YouTube forever has always had that subscriptions feature at the bottom, where if you click on that, everything you subscribe to, people you subscribe to, will always pop up, and that's a more curated experience. These are people you subscribe to, you trust,
yeah,
so you can just watch only their feeds. But he did a search and he saw that only 3% of people select that subscription feature. Now that could also be related to they may not know where it is, but it's pretty simple to find. It's literally right here at the bottom of your YouTube, at the bottom of your phone, right? To kind of put that subscription feature. And but he said the majority of people rather choose the for you or what the algorithm is pushing them to actually create something that's unique and different, or excuse me, specific to what they trust, the sources they trust, the
yeah,
people they trust, because that dopamine of finding something new and interesting is always what you're chasing for. And so I think, we're going to see more of that where curated experiences will not be the norm anymore. It would just be more, uh, algorithmic information dumped our way. I mean, are you, I know you're more about curation and stuff. Are you seeing that
hmm
in how you look at Twitter or Blue Sky or these other tools? Or you kind of always, or even Threads even, right? I think they
yeah,
have the two features, right? The
yeah. And it's really frustrating because just because I go off on a tangent or I want to see what everybody else is up to, man, it's like I've got my stuff zoned in on Instagram. I'm like, boom, I got these gurus, boom, I got these arts, boom, I got this motivational, boom, I got I down the list, and suddenly I have a few workout people in there, and all of a sudden I'm watching this video of a dude helping this young lady on the pull up bar, and I'm like, huh, who's that young lady? Next thing you
Gotcha.
know, my feed is done, and I'm like, but I just did. It was 20 minutes. 20 minutes versus my 20 days of curation and 20 minutes of the pull-up bars, and now my feed is messed up.
Yeah, that's how it is. YouTube too, man. I mean, I was like, I need to learn more about poker. I want to teach the kids about thinking,
Yeah,
math skills, and now I'm getting up at poker. Algorithm.
Want to gamble, don't you?
Yeah, fan stars, is ready to sell you FanDuel, right? Start
Yeah,
today. I mean, it's just like crazy, man. Or if you go down religious, then you get all these religious guys. Or you go down this, it's just,
yeah.
I saw some Daredevil stuff, so that's all I get is Daredevil now. It's just like,
So I haven't been on TikTok in a while. Is their algorithm still like top tier? Just
I wouldn't know, man. I'm not on there either, man. We stopped putting information out there on my TikTok. I couldn't even tell you. I haven't looked at my TikTok in so long. But
yeah.
we kind of gave up on it too. But I'm sure it is trash. I'm sure it's trash. I don't know, but I'm sure it is. So like, yeah, that's the worst, right? I mean, and run by the Chinese company. But true story. That thing TikTok just released their own kind of React language version, right? So if like JavaScript
Oh,
kind of versioning, and so it's like supposed to be really good. And so I read that. I'm gonna kind of get into more development,
hmm.
understanding that better. But yeah, I don't know why. Maybe that's interesting. Maybe that's part of their secret plan to kind of edge in, get into the core, to the guts of infrastructure with more development, features and stuff like that. With, we already know what they do with CapCut and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
right? And so, yeah. Anyway, so make a long story short, I haven't been on TikTok, man, so I couldn't tell you.
All right. So yeah, the thing I'm worried about, man. I guess this is my question: are we in control? Simple answer is no, not really. But then the deeper question is, how much control have we actually lost
Mm.
already?
Mm.
Because we know where we're going, and it's like it's just getting weird for me, man. I'm over here trying to do all the sleeping, priming, damn near self hypnosis kind of techniques.
Journaling your future self.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hear you, man. Literally wrote this. I said, we live in a world. I wrote this today. We live in a world that you have to be proactive to guide your thoughts and your actions. You have to watch you have to be careful what you watch, how you watch it, why do you watch it. You have to be so intentional, because if you're not, I mean, you're doing stuff sometimes you're like, why am I'm just doing this, right? But you're like, wait a minute,
yeah,
what am I doing this for? If you don't, you will be
yeah.
in that rabbit hole, and you look like 10 years have gone by, and you're like, nothing's was done. I didn't get anything done in my life.
Or if you're all off in somewhere. How did I end up here? I'm trying to program my sleep now, really, man. Like that whole end of night routine. I do this. I watch something and wake up, and listen to certain songs before I go to bed. And when I wake up, listen to them again. So I program myself. I'm just
Mm.
trying to make sure that I don't get, you know, caught up in the matrix. I didn't want to use the phrase, but that's the best thing I can think of.
I mean, is that, people saying, oh, I'm not being red pilled, I'm not being red pilled, don't get red pilled. But guess what? You are already. The algorithm has already made you that way. And
Blue pill?
but you know what? I think I read an article too that talked about habits. There's so many things we do. 80% of our day is full of habits that we don't even know why we do it. Like, what
Yeah,
hand do you brush your teeth with, right? That's a habit that you don't even
yeah,
think about, right? Or, why do you do certain things? Like you said, I drink a glass of water every time I wake up. Why do I do that? Just
yeah,
is so programmed in you, and that's habits you built over a lifetime. Imagine new habits you built, because I'm, like we're older, so we remember a time when you had to do more work to go on the internet, right? You
yeah.
had to curate your own experience. You had to go Google search. I remember being in your
You
room,
got,
Mr.
you
Pigeon.
got. You go ahead.
I can remember searching some crazy videos sometimes on your computer, and I'll be in there 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, Mr. Bench is about to come. Hurry up, computer, hurry up. No, he's coming to the door. Turn the computer off.
Yeah, man, we had limited time, limited download speeds, and if you were at home, I remember my dad would kick me out the house, and he just like, "All right, son, get in the yard. Don't come back in here for an hour." And it's just
Yep,
like, "All right, now I got to figure something out. I got to do something with myself."
exactly. So it's just, yeah, man, it's just one of those things where, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think, this is kind of like the old guys on the lawn, get off my lawn, kids, it's, you don't understand, it's going to be the end of the world. I mean, I can
Back
kind of
back in
feel
my day.
myself, yeah, but as a person who has kids, right, who's worried for their concern, I just feel like, look, if they could just think a little bit more, I guarantee it don't have to be that much more now. I don't think the baseline is going to be like this, man. It's like, it's going to be so lowered to how you think critically that if
Mm-hmm.
they could just think like 5% better, they'll probably be better than 90% of the people out there. And that's all my goal is. Just making them like read more, think more, and then if that can give them this that 5% edge, because
Yeah.
the vast majority of people are gonna be like this, man, and it's gonna get worse. There's
Yeah.
a movie called what's it called? Idiocracy. I don't know if
Yeah.
you saw it.
Idiocracy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where the guy fell asleep for like 500 years and he woke up, and the human race had gotten so dumb that he was average intelligence. He wasn't super smart. Became the smartest man on the
Yeah.
planet. And because there was so much automation, technology, and stuff like that, it was very crass. Though they said people got very crass. I don't know, man. I feel like there is that level happening where yes, they're going to have some intelligence around, how to find, find the best beauty. No, not I'm not going to give them. There going to be some talents. Let's just say that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe how to edit a video. I don't know that we'll never pick up. They can do a video like edit in like 20 seconds, but the skills that we thought were important in our society, I don't know if they're going to be, as transferable. So.
Yeah. Don't feed don't feed Gatorade to the plants; they'll die.
You remember, okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Benja, man. Shoot, you want to get into these trailers?
Yeah, man. Let's get into the trailer. Let's do The Last of Us first.
Yeah,
So
let's do
um,
that.
so yeah, this is our little trailer segment. It's a little fun thing we like doing nowadays. But we just got this released before we started recording, so I'm happy that we were on for this one. Last of Us, the video game, had a phenomenal first season live action. A lot of people really dug it. I jumped out at some point because I'm a hater,
I
but
liked it. I liked it.
yeah, it's a good
And I
little
didn't play the
zombie
game. I
thing.
was amazed about
Mm,
how I mean, especially that first episode is
it was
if you
good. That was
watch,
powerful.
yeah, that and the game were very similar. It was like almost like worth, literally almost the same thing, and that
Yeah.
was pretty awesome.
Well, I'm coming out of my pure hater phase, and I can hate from other perspectives now. So I may go back and watch the first season again, and then watch the second season. If I can do it with Arcane, I can do it with anything.
Yes, you can.
All right, so The Last of Us season 2 trailer. I don't know anything about what they're going for. I don't know anything about what they're trying. You haven't heard anything about this, have you?
No, 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 not at
Okay,
all. I mean, I kind of have a little inkling about some stuff, but I didn't watch the trailer yet.
okay, cool. Well, let's just get into it, and we're gonna start to play in 3, 2, 1, play.
Yep, there it is.
You okay?
Ooh, grown up.
Yeah.
This is where we live. And what's that?
The fence.
What's inside?
People.
What's outside?
Monsters.
By the time the sun comes up tomorrow, there's a very good chance you'll be dead.
You're gonna lose.
Don't you know what he did?
I like that.
You swore.
Oh,
All right.
Okay.
Plan
Okay.
started $9.99 a month.
Still won't buy, huh?
Nope.
I
All right. So,
mean, I
go ahead.
I know a little. Do you know what happens in the next video game version of Last of Us?
No, I don't.
Okay, okay, I know a little something. So, but it's kind of interesting how they kind of promoting this. So, but we'll talk about maybe later when it comes out. But overall, yeah, I'm super excited about it. I mean, it's so funny. Jeffrey Wright,
Yeah.
he was in the sequel of the game too. So it's kind of funny they're
Mm.
bringing him into the
Oh,
live
that's why
action.
you laughed at that. Yeah.
Yeah, that too. And because the young lady who played the military leader in the first season, she was from the video game. The
Okay.
same actress, with the voice and everything. So luckily, she was able to portray the same character in the TV show. And Jeffrey Wright, I mean, he's still Jeffrey Wright. So they said, "Come on, bruh. Come on into the show."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it's gonna be interesting to see what he does in it. But yeah, man. I mean, these
It,
out. Go ahead.
it seemed like more of the same to me. So I was just like, all right.
Hmm.
Not that I was mad at it. Just like, all right. Um, for whatever reason, the first season, while quality, it's like I didn't find enough of an overarching story plot that kind of said, "Here's why I should watch." It's just it was a tale of two people. It seemed, and I'm like, I'm cool with that, but that's not what. It didn't really draw me in
A
enough. I
tale
was
of
like,
two people. Yeah, yeah. Well, isn't that like the video game? No, you play them different versions, right? You play her for a little bit, you play him for a little bit, right? In the video game,
yeah,
never
hmm
played the video. So, but to me, that was amazing. It was like they're trying to. I could tell there was a scene when she was kind of by herself in the episode. I said, "Oh, this must be the version where you played her," because
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, "What happened to the guy?" Oh, this is the game part of it, and that was
yeah,
amazing how
yeah.
they kind of try to intersect that. So the we talked about that. The guy who did Chernobyl, he's writing this with the help of the guy. I think it's Druckmann. I can't remember his name. The
Wait,
creator of this.
so this is different from the first season
No,
writer.
it's the same
Would you say?
folks. Same
So,
folks.
okay,
Yeah.
same folks. Same folks.
So it's the creator of the video game and the showrunner is by a guy who knows how to write episodic television. So they get together and so they kind of
Yeah,
make changes to make sure it makes sense from a television standpoint. Because when you're playing the video game is a totally different experience because you are the
yeah,
character, right? Y-
yeah. Now, aside from Resident Evil, I can't think of any. I'm sure there are, video game to live action series that have. Resident Evil's not really a series, I guess. I guess they had one. They did have one. But yeah, I'm not used to seeing them have sequels. So
Good point.
this is promising for The Last of Us and future game
Yeah.
to live action stories.
But I see your point. I mean, I think it does give a little sameness to it. I mean, if you watch The Walking Dead, I think I was on for like the first two seasons of Walking Dead, and after a while, I said,
Yeah,
I get the hang of it. I get the vibe here.
yeah.
Having
You know,
fun, cooking
yeah,
out, zombies come. Having fun,
yeah.
swimming, zombies come.
Zombie
Having
stuff
fun, on there, at
on a boat.
Disneyland, yeah, on the
Yeah.
boat, zombies come. So it's just like that's just
Yeah, you know what's funny? It's like I've watched through The Walking Dead, and at some point through it, I started having those same feelings. A lot of people were talking about it, but when you watch it, you're like somebody in the writers' room. It's like they're trying to tell a deeper story about something. It's like every season you can tell that there's something buried way underneath there. Like, hey, uh, what's your feeling when you have no hope? What's when everything's dead and when everything, and there should be a lot of story there, but it's like almost right when you start to uncover it, it's just like, but what's really important? We're gonna run out of shotgun shells, and we have to do. And it's like, okay, yeah,
zombies
where are
come.
we at? Right, we're in a prison, and zombies are coming, and there are these other guys who are in a village, and zombies came after them, so now they're coming after us. And
Yeah.
it's always the same kind of.
Yeah, it was just different levels of it, like the whispers or this or the. It's just like it. I get it. They had to escalate in how people evolve in a different environment, and that's what The Last of Us gives me that kind of vibe. But it's kind of more of a focused on a character study, if you will, right? And so,
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah, I'll watch it. I mean, look, man, what else am I gonna watch on Sundays? Be honest with you, man. Look, that third episode. I mean, did you ever watch that third episode of Last of Us? I think
Yeah.
it was. Do you remember
I
the
can't
one
remember
about
what
them?
happened in it,
It was
but
a love story between the two guys. Do you remember that one?
got two guys or two girls.
Two guys, yeah. It was good. It was good. It was Nick Offerman from say it again?
Yeah, the house.
Yeah, the house. Yeah, it was. I thought it was and it was
That was good. I liked
because
it.
yeah, because it was like in the. I was told I didn't play the video game. The video game, they saw the conclusion of what happened to those guys, right?
Yeah,
But they never told you their backstory, and that was a way to tell that backstory in like an episodic television. So I
yeah,
think
that
they're
was
gonna do
cool.
more of that. I thought that was kind of unique and different. So I trust the writers. The guy who wrote Chernobyl was great, so I think he'll do a great job on this as well. So yeah, man, I think I'm hyped. Yeah, I'm watching. Ain't nothing else
Yeah,
to watch.
it's funny. You could tell a lot of stories without. I mean, the zombies have changed the world in any of these situations, so you could just tell the story about how these people exist in this world without making it about the same, got to get away from zombies kind of thing. And, yeah, it's just like, hey, how do you have a, I don't know, weird Romeo and Juliet story? Maybe I think they've done that somewhere, but
Yeah,
never mind.
yeah,
We have two different camps and they love each other, but zombies.
I know. Hanging out, play at the gambling casino, zombies. It's just it's, what is there? Is there zombies? Just that's
All
just
right,
the end of
so I want to do a heist movie, zombies. I want to do you know, black empowerment movie,
zombies.
zombies. Uh, a tale of forbidden lesbian love, zombies.
Zombies. Yeah, I mean
And
it's
it's like,
just
wow, it's just such an overbearing situation that it seems like it's really hard to tell a story there.
it's almost
I'm
like a
saying you
force of
should, but
nature. It's like like what they call the force of nature, force of God. It's just like
mhm.
it's like a tsunami comes. It's just like it is what it is. So it could be anything. So you can mix zombies with anything because I mean, we're in a war, zombies. World War Z, right? So it's
Yeah.
yeah, you can mix it with anything. So anyway, the only one I'm kind of interested in is this Havoc one. I don't know. Did you want to any other one you want to look at?
Oh, I thought you were gonna go for government cheese.
I actually saw that one, so but
Okay,
maybe
don't worry
we'll
about it.
talk about it later. Yeah, yeah,
Let's.
just funny. I know.
All right, we can do Havoc.
Government cheese. They should do it. They should with the GOV.
Wait, GUB apostrophe MINT government cheese.
Government cheese. Then I'll be like, yes, we got to see this movie.
Well, you'll have to if we get 1,000 likes, 2,000 likes, 500 likes, even we might have to watch government cheese. But until then,
Government
you
cheese.
want to check out this Havoc?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so now we have an official teaser from Netflix. So all I know about this is that it's Tom Hardy Netflix flick, and he's doing some stuff. So I got it queued up. You know anything about this one?
I don't.
Okay. All right. So Havoc, the official teaser from Netflix, and we're gonna play it in 3, 2, 1, play.
I just came from a crime scene. 9 bodies.
I make one phone call. You and your friends go down for life.
Yeah.
What brings you boys here? We didn't want to miss out on all the fun.
This is my town. And don't forget, I know what you did.
You have no idea what I did.
You don't know what I did to you when I did that. And you don't know what I did when I did that on Tuesday.
Son, I don't care where you came from. I ain't never seen a washing machine get thrown at the police. Oh yes.
Oh,
I'm
Saul
in for
Guerrero
that.
out here, man. Saul Guerrero out here telling folks what's what.
I know what you did. at the Jedi Temple.
Sure.
Oh man.
I mean, it's a passable action flick, but the raid, I mean, that was awesome. So, yeah, man, I'm there. I'm there. I mean, it's Netflix. The challenge with Netflix movies, they seem good when you watch the trailer, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
something happens. Something happens.
Yeah, yeah. I'm. Hey, I go into those Netflix with low expectations. I'm looking for the little key moments, like the washing machine, the action shots. Come on, dog. That was cool. I like
Well,
that.
Extraction. You ever see those Hemsworth movies, the Extraction movies on Netflix?
No, no.
Those are pretty good, man. I mean, it's kind of like this one take kind of actioner where it's like once he gets in the action, don't stop, and
Yeah,
that keeps it going. And so that to me is like, okay, this it's not a lot of story there, but it's just like, hey, you just nonstop action. 2 hours. I think he goes to sleep for like 2 minutes and he wakes back up and there's someone shooting at him. So it's just yeah, yeah, Havoc. I think I'm gonna check it out. Sure. I mean, I always say that, but sometimes it's just too much on Netflix. I'm like 5 documentaries behind, like 3 movies, 5 TV shows on Netflix. I'm
yeah.
just like, ugh, I need to. I always say I'm going to look at this stuff, man, but I never do. I don't know. It's just.
Mm.
And one thing I do want to say, and so everyone go check out Havoc. When it comes out, we'll probably review it. Mr. Benjamin, before we end, I just want to put this little rant. We used to do that all the time, but I got a little rant I want to end on, if you don't mind.
Let's rant, baby.
The Oscars. Does anyone care about the damn Oscars, man?
Oh.
I watched them live. I'm probably one of the few people that still does. Matter of fact, I remember watching it live when Chris Rock got the taste slapped off him by Will Smith. And I can remember that, and no one else knew what happened on the Oscars because they weren't watching it. Because I was watching it live, I could talk about it live, and that was a wonderful feeling. But since that moment, over 3 years ago, nothing interesting has ever happened on the Oscars lately, and I think people could care less. Matter of fact, I bet you could even name any of the movies. We talked about this on the podcast before. You probably couldn't even name the movie that won. It's basically about a prostitute. Sure, that won the best picture. So it's terrible. It's sad. They don't make movie stars like they used to. They don't make movies like they used to. And so I think the Oscars are becoming culturally irrelevant, especially for the younger generation. So, Mr. Benja, that's my take on the Oscars. Any thoughts on that?
Bruh, I don't know anybody. I'm trying to think of the last time someone had mentioned the Oscars outside of you.
Exactly.
And I'm coming up blank. I really don't know.
So sad. So and there was a time where we did watch it and we get excited, and when Denzel won or Halle Berry won, we were just like right there with him. But yeah, I couldn't even tell you what. I think who was it? No, who won it last year? Was it Anywhere, Everything, All at Once last year? I can't even remember who won it last year. Who won the
Well, that was
Oscars
the year
last
before
year?
last, huh?
Yeah. See, that's how sad it is. Who won the Oscar for best Oscars? I think I looked it up before we talked about it, and it's so sad. I was like drawing a blank. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's just how people don't care anymore, man. And I'm drawing a blank. Oh, Oppenheimer. That's right. Yeah, now it's coming back to me. But anyway, Mr. Benja, so that's my hot take. Anything else going on for you, man, for this week?
Nah, man, I'm about to I'm constructing a levitation chamber, so when I get my meditation down, it's kind of like the Darth Vader meditation chamber. But I'm trying to bring in good vibes and see if I can float at least 3 inches off the ground. I think I got 2 inches off the ground when I was meditating hardcore. If I can get 3 inches off the ground, then I'll have enlightened myself, and will probably show up in an astral form, at your house, just to let you know that I've achieved that state. So,
Perfection. I love it, man.
yes, I'm messing with the arcane magic arts, so that's what's happening.
Well, stay away from the Shadow King. You know how he like to get out there in these streets.
Yes.
So, all right, man. Yeah, same here, man. We'll talk later about some of the travels I got coming up, but
Okay.
we'll share those in the next shot. So super excited about that. So everyone, wow, this has been a great episode. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Show versus Business on X, Threads, YouTube, and Instagram. Listen to us at Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to see more about us and what we're doing, go check out our website, Show versus Business. All right, Mr. Benja.
Peace.